You ever just look at your cat, when it's lounging on the sofa like some furry little pharaoh, and you just think to yourself, how did this happen? It's a relationship that's been going on for 10,000 years. And believe me, the real story is not what you'd expect. So let's dive in and figure out how cats really choose their people. I mean, this is the big one, right? The question every single cat person asks themselves, usually at 5 a.m. when you're being woken up for breakfast or when you're opening that third can of tuna. Do we own them, or are we just their staff? The truth is actually kind of wild, and it definitely puts us in our place. So if you've spent any time online, you might have heard of this amazing term, the cat distribution system. It's this hilarious and weirdly accurate name for how cats just show up in our lives. It's like this magical force that just decides, yep, you need a cat. And boom, there's one on your porch, whether you were looking for one or not. And this right here, this is the system in action. I mean, just listen to this. The cat didn't meekly ask for shelter, it marched in. And it didn't hope for a home, it declared, I live here now. That's not a pet, that's a tiny, furry CEO staging a corporate takeover of your living room. The sheer audacity, you gotta respect it. And these stories are everywhere. You hear them all the time. A cat appears out of nowhere, loudly demands food, and then, as a sort of payment, decides to groom your hair. These aren't just one-off cute stories, you guys. They're all pieces of a puzzle, and they point to a really fundamental truth about what cats are all about. Okay, so there's actually a scientific term for this, and it's semi-domesticated. It's a huge deal. See, unlike dogs, who we spent thousands of years breeding to be our buddies and helpers, cats took a different route. They basically decided to hang out with us, but it was always on their terms. They never ever gave up that wild, independent streak. So let's rewind about 10,000 years. Humans are just getting into farming, right? We've got these big grain stores, which naturally attract a ton of mice. And along comes the African wildcat, who looks at the situation and sees, well, an all-you-can-eat rodent buffet. We didn't tame them. They saw a fantastic business opportunity and moved in. They basically domesticated themselves because, hey, it was a pretty sweet deal. And when you put them next to dogs, it becomes so obvious. We bred dogs for obedience. They're genetically wired to see us as the boss and want to make us happy. Cats? Nope. They formed a business partnership with us. We needed pest control, they needed food. They keep their freedom, and they see us less as masters and more like, well, useful roommates, the ones who can operate a can opener.
So if they're not bred to obey, how did they get so good at getting us to do whatever they want? Simple. They hacked our brains. For real. First off, they keep their cute, kitten-like features their whole lives. That's a thing called neoteny. But the real genius move? The meow. You know that sound? It's tuned to almost the exact same frequency as a human baby's cry. It triggers our most basic, hardwired instinct to care for something. And get this, adult cats almost never meow at each other. That's a language they invented just for us.
Yeah, you heard that right. That little meow literally short-circuits the part of our brain that handles maternal instincts. It's not just a cute noise we choose to respond to. We are biologically programmed to find that sound impossible to ignore. It's not a request for food. It's a command that our DNA tells us to obey. It's kind of brilliant, right?
Which leads to what might be the best description of a cat I've ever heard. They're basically toddlers with free will. Think about it. They have all the cleverness of a toddler who knows exactly how to get what they want, but they also have the complete and utter independence to ignore you unless what you want happens to be exactly what they want. It's the perfect storm of cute and cunning. And they are absolute masters of escalation. Just look at this process. It's pure genius. Step 1 is the ask. A polite little meow by the treat cabinet. Cute. When that doesn't work, we move to the stare. You know the one. No more purring, just soul-piercing eye contact. Still nothing? Okay, time for the annoyance. Let's start chewing on a really noisy plastic bag. And if you are somehow still ignoring them, we go straight to the threat, which, yes, is your cat pretending to chew on your medication. It's basically a tiny, furry hostage negotiation. It's brilliant and a little bit terrifying. And oh, it doesn't just stop with treats and food. Not at all. Before you know it, they're managing your entire schedule. They become the tiny bosses of your household, enforcing rules with an iron paw. A lot of people talk about having a bedtime cop cat. The one who decides when it's lights out for the whole house. I mean, can you picture this? It's after 10 o'clock at night, you dare to get up for a drink of water, and suddenly there's a cat literally huffing and puffing at your feet, physically herding you back towards the bedroom. That's not a pet, my friend. That's a furry little project manager who has reviewed your evening routine and found it unacceptable. So, why on earth do we put up with this? Why do we let these tiny tyrants run our lives? Well, it all comes down to this quote right here. A dog's love is amazing, but it's kind of part of their programming. With a cat, it's a choice. They are absolutely not coded to obey you. They have to actually genuinely choose to care about you. And that's why when a cat finally curls up on your lap, it feels like this incredible, hard-won victory. You earned that purr. And what that all adds up to is a totally different kind of relationship. It's not owner and pet, it's not master and servant, it's a partnership.
A really complex, ongoing negotiation between two equals built on mutual respect. And, a very clear understanding of who's actually in charge. Hint, it's not the one paying the mortgage.
Which brings us all the way back to the biggest question of all. When you really think about it, after 10,000 years of living together, after all the perfectly timed meows and strategic purrs, who really domesticated whom? There's that old saying that just nails it perfectly. It's more than just a funny line. It's pretty much the perfect conclusion to this whole 10,000-year saga. Dogs have owners, cats have staff.
But in the end, I think this whole wild adventure with our cats teaches us something really important. The best relationships, the strongest bonds, they aren't about control or dominance. They're about choice. A mutual, freely given decision to care about each other. And honestly, that might just be the greatest lesson our little semi-domesticated overlords can teach us.